folks, and welcome to Subjective Thoughts. And our comic for today is Terror Inc. Issue 5 by Max. Now, there is violence, killing, blood, terrorism, magic, ripping bodies apart, shooting, and a hell of a lot more violence in this one. So if you are in any way squeamish, you have been warned. Also, spoilers. Alright, here's the team. So here we are at the final issue of Terror Inc., the second series. And oh boy, what an ending it was. Alright, so let's start. When we left off Mr. Terror in issue 4, he and Mrs. Primo have escaped. And he was with her in the hotel room, and she asked him, "Do you trust me?" And he said yes, and then she cut his throat and called the police. We start this one with another explosion somewhere in Los Angeles, more of the Death Rain terrorists. More of them have exploded and killed a lot more people. Then we go to Talita. She's in her room, somewhere else though, not in the headquarters. And she is yelling at the mystic who has not done what she has wanted, and he begs her for more time. But well, she says, I've been patient enough," and she kills him. She rips his head off, basically, because he failed to connect her to the arm like she wanted. So then she goes, she tells the nurse that's with her in the room as well to help her. She's the only one that's there right now. So the nurse gives her a shot of, I would imagine, maybe painkillers, and tells her, "I'm here, mistress," and also informs her that Mr. Harper has left with some woman and is most likely dead. And she's like, "Oh, my Mr. Harper. I've lost." It says something to the nurse that makes it seem like perhaps she's using some kind of magic to control them. Her people, the nurse, Mr. Harper. Perhaps Mr. Harper wasn't some crazy bastard that just wanted nihilism. There's a chance that she has influenced him. I'm not certain. And then she figures that the nurse also tells her that Mr. Terror is gone. So she figures Mr. Terror has taken over Mr. Harper, which means she tells the nurse to quickly get her to the arm. Ooh. Oh wait, so much has happened in the last issue. Okay, she tells her to quickly bring her to the arm. And how Mr. Terror, and how Mr. Terror used to love her. Okay, and then what happens? Okay, then we go across town. Okay, then we go across town. Mrs. Primo and Mr. Terror was inside of Mr. Harper's body, or using his body. It seems like Mr. Harper's fighting him, kind of. He's giving the control of the arm over to Talita, which is, that's very fucking bad. And he's, yelling at Mrs. Primo, and she's telling him, "Oh, darling, this is bad." There's two dead men on the floor of the hotel room. Mrs. Primo somewhere found a special apron and a mask. Now, she called the police. I can't understand if these are two policemen that came over or if these are two Death Rain members. I think they might be Death Rain members because of something Mr. Terror says later. But yes, I'm not. I think I'm leaning towards it being Death Rain members. So I think her calling the police was perhaps to inform the FBI of what's going on, a tip, where probably to tell them where the headquarters of Death Rain is. And that she tells him, "Well, darling, don't worry, I will fix you right up." You know, so she goes and she starts ripping out his intestines as Mr. Harper curses her. Yeah, he's more in control. Without the arm, Mr. Terror absorbs more of the badness in people. In this case, of Mr. Harper. So he screams. We move on to the headquarters of Death Rain. The FBI agent that was in issue 4. He bursts in there with his men. They did find the headquarters thanks to Mr. Terror's tip, but it's empty. They don't know where they are. He's talking to, I suppose, someone higher up, telling him, "Yes, sir, we found it, but it's empty, and we're stretched thin as it is. And what are we gonna do?" He goes outside. A tank is parked out, and more men. And he tells them, "Well, sir, I think we're fucked." And they are. They really are. And we go back to Mr. Terror, right? Let me see. Okay, yeah, there we go back. Okay, we go back to Mr. Terror. He thanks Mrs. Primo for, doing that, helping him. Because she scared Mr. Harper out of him for a moment. Ooh, there's something I haven't read, I haven't watched in a long time. Sorry. Yeah, they're there. He thanks her. He says there's nothing you can do now. Mr. Harper has given the control of the arm over to Talita. And Mrs. Primmel's like, "Well, darling, you have to do something. Millions will die. And come on, well, there's these two bodies here. It will get you feeling all right. You'll feel good as new. Well, good as new and rotten." And he says, "No, these are not good men, and without the arm, the good parts of Talita, there's nothing that I can do." And she tells him, "Oh, darling," because that was his anchor. That's what kept him, well, more or less good over these centuries. And then Mrs. Primmel tells him, "Don't worry, I will be your anchor." And she stands up and holds the scalpel to her throat and begins to slice. And Mr. Terror looks at her and says, "Oh, God, no, Mrs. Primmel." Then we move, we don't get to see what happens, but oh, God, is she dead? Ooh. Is she gonna give him her body parts? We move on to Talita. She's on a stage somewhere with the members and all the other believers. She tells them, "That's it. Today you won't die. You were the chosen ones." Blah blah blah. Cultist talking points. She proves to them then that look, it is real. She rips out her arm, and there's a few women in their underwear on the stage. One is forced forward, and Talita rips her arm off and puts it instead of the other one to show them, "Look, this is my power. You will also be immortal." Basically, lying to them that after they suicide bomb themselves, they'll come back. It's all good. Good as new. Bitch. Well, they're all cheering, and she says, "Okay, get them all strapped with their bomb straps." And then the nurse tells her, "Talita, there wasn't enough of your blood to make a large dose, that with the psychedelics, to inject them with." And she says, "Just increase the psychedelics." Once again, bitch. So then we move on to a room somewhere. Maybe it's the same stage, actually. Is below. They're strapping all of them. Or no, wait. Before that, wait. I'm confused. We go to later. Talita's in her room, saying hello, old friend, and having like a vision, a memory of Mr. Terror. And will he join her into oblivion? And then and then suddenly he talks and says, "There's a little bit of me in there too, darling." Okay, that happens later. And he says, "Oh, you're here." and he appears behind her, looking like himself and not like Mr. Harper now. And then they start to fight. She has a giant sword. He has, I think, guns and an axe. So they begin to fight, saying things to each other. The fighting continues. They go out of her room down. I think this is some kind of house. Anyway, they fight, and then in another room, all the other gang members are being strapped. Everything's prepared, but then there's an explosion on one of the walls, and it's the FBI bursting in. I think the nurse died in that explosion. I think. But yes, the FBI is there. They're also shooting at the gang members or the cult members. Things are getting really, really ugly. Some of them are pressing the buttons on their explosive vests. There's explosion, death. Talita and Mr. Terra keep fighting. He goes down the stairs after her. And like hits her, makes her head, decapitates her. But then she also makes a move and slices him across the chest. And he's like, shit, I should have seen that one coming. And then there's more explosions. I think outside, that FBI agent is there, and he says, another one tells him, shouldn't we be, careful about Mr. Terror? And he says, I know he gave us the tip and that he was duped into this, but I still hope and basically still hopes he gets hurt by some friendly fire. Hey man, he didn't know. I mean, he wasn't expecting Talita to suddenly appear after all these centuries. I mean, would you? So, the more fighting we get to Talita and Mr. Terror are outside. The whole building, I think, fucking exploded around them. Oh, wait. That's just... Where were they? Just a second. Yes, confirm. Okay, yeah, there was more explosions. Yeah, okay. Oh yeah, and then two more cultist gang members, both pressed. Okay, so it's just them outside now. Okay, yeah. So they are outside. Talita's head's coming back to her body. Looks fucking freaky, let me tell you. And she's holding Mr. Terror's head and telling him, that's it, there will be oblivion. And he tells her, I loved you, but you're no longer that woman. She certainly fucking isn't. But then again, 8 centuries in oblivion will do that to you. So they keep fighting, and she said, I can feel it. You're dying finally. And he says, yeah, my time here is limited. And he starts to decay, and he starts to what's the word? He not fade, but like ash. They start burning paper. It starts to just disappear like that. Oh, kind of like fuck, I can't believe I'm using this reference. Like the Thanos snap thing that happened, that kind of effect. So he starts to disappear. Before that, he tells her, "Let's see which one of us the arm brings back," because he manages here because he still has control over the arm. It has been his a lot longer than hers, so it's like he can still do something. And then she yells, "No, it's mine!" But then she also disappears and starts to she also starts to disappear. And then there's another bloody, massive explosion. That FBI agent's looking at it from a helicopter. And he's like, well, shit. And then the pilot says there's no way anything survived down there with that. Ah, but you don't know Mr. Terror, my dear sir. And down below you can see the arm, the metal arm, and something coming out of it, those tentacle things. Then we move on to we're outside a hospital, and Mr. Terror appears at a door of a hospital room holding a big bouquet of roses, and he's there to see Mrs. Primo. So it looks like all she got from that was just a cut to the throat. He approaches her bed, asks her how she's doing, and she said, "I didn't expect to see you again." Well, all that happened. I guess he says, "Well, just seeing you hold that not knife, scalp to your throat was enough to bring me back to my senses." So yeah, I thought that maybe she either gave him her body parts, and she wanted to do the same thing that Talita wanted, that he done with Talita back then. But no. So that's it. Talita is defeated. I guess the FBI managed to gather the rest of the cult. I don't know if they managed to stop more explosions, and there's still a lot of fucking people dead. But I suppose they managed to stop it finally. He says, he tells Mrs. Pribble, "I guess you care about me more than I thought. So does that mean you'll sleep with me now?" And she says, while you have another woman inside you, no way, darling. And that's it. This is the end of the story. And it was. Oh wait. Okay, let's get to the comic cover first. Oh, oops. There we go. Okay, so this is the cover of the last and 5th issue. You can see there's Mr. Terror, and there's supposed to be Talita. And they're about to face off. Though here you see some, I think that's hair, but Talita is still bald in the comic. I wonder why they made her bald. Yeah, there we go. As always, a very cool cover. All the covers on this were great. You got the starting page. Okay, so you see the explosion over there. Ooh, wait. I would have probably been considered, if it was real, like the largest terrorist attack ever, probably. You see the arm, there's our dead mystic. Well, he fucked up his job. I don't know how long they've been working towards it, that she, just to kill him, it was so pissed. There you see Talita, you see a bit, that's okay, it's a little bit. You see his head there, there's the nurse. I didn't fully bandage her there. And there we go. You see that's her over there, remembering. And she tells the nurse to quickly bring her over to the arm. And this is gruesome, but don't worry, I'll age restricted, but you've been warned. There you see, she even handcuffed old Harper. Smart lady. Like I said, Mrs. Primo, I said that in the last video, is a very resourceful woman. There you go. Okay. Oh boy, what a fun ride the series has been. This is the kind of stuff I love. Although I wish there was maybe an extra comic to get into the magic of everything. Because holy shit, that was cool. See him having to now kill Talita after all these centuries, and I was almost certain that maybe this would end with him just finally dying. But it looks like until he destroys his arm, or Talita's old arm, it might not happen. Although I guess Talita at least got her oblivion in the end. It looks like every good terrorist, she decided she needs to bring everyone with her instead of just blowing herself up. I mean, shit. What a whole thing. Now, I wish we could see a bit like how it all started, how Harper found her, and how this whole thing began. Because this must have been in the works for a long time, after all. Because Talita would have had to build everything and then get the army and everything. Not army, but get the cult collected and shit like that. That would have taken some time and resources. So yeah, I wish we could have seen that. But regardless, this was a really fun story. I really enjoyed it. It was cool, action-packed, full of guts and blood like I like. A lot of violence. And although decaying, but a handsome hero. I mean, holy shit. That's a guy I wish we could have seen the cleanup a little bit. There must have been a lot of cleanup. Oh boy. I'm also glad Mrs. Brimble didn't end up dying. And I knew I knew the comic would, I knew at the end they'll go back to him asking her if she wants to sleep with him. I had a feeling that might come back or something. Even though I was thinking there that he might, that's it, he'll be dead. So it looks like old Mr. Terra's gonna keep kicking on and doing, I don't know, maybe now he'll join the FBI or something. Or find a way, I don't know, to undo the curse. Unlike in Berserker, he's not looking for a cure, it seems. So, I guess he'll be kicking around for a while. Oh, so yeah, I really love this story. I enjoyed it a lot. It's definitely gonna be one I'll reread. It was fucking great. And a nice explosive fight in the end of it. Well, I wish we got to see maybe a wrap up for the, I don't know, the FBI or something giving a statement or some shit like that. But regardless, awesome, great art, great covers, and a nice little wrap up. Whew. So that's it. So I will recommend this one to you if you like horror. Yeah, if you like horror, violent stories, this is for you. But if you don't, I really don't recommend you read this. It will not be. It's not for the faint of heart, as I'm sure you could. I'm sure you saw if you watched all these videos and this one. So that is it, folks. Let me know if you read the second series of Mr. Terror. What did you think of the whole story? Did you like it? Did you not? Let me know. And remember, collect what you're passionate about and share it on YouTube. Bye!